Smith, Brian's done really well here on the right side edge. Dale Cherry-Evans has gone there with a play to the edge. He's trying to get to his second rower, and he's come up and in, and he's shut him down. He's made him pass the ball back in. It's really good. And obviously, it's a little bit of a byproduct of his Wigan, the way they defend.
Well, that's all real good as long as your inside defence then moves up and closes off the play, coming back on the inside, and we see Mansour sniffing around the inside, Corey Parker, and so England have got to be aware of that if they're going to use that tactic.
I've got a bit of a delay here. Just to take you through that tale again, by the way, in case you missed it, the Rorke's Drift Test, 1914. England played a third test match about 3 or 4 days after the second test against the Australians. And despite a lot of injuries, there's on report there, despite Sean O'Loughlin.
A bit of penalty, Dave, because I think it's a high tackle.
Was it an accidental trip? Did he?
Was it? Okay.
Let's have a look at this, yes.
Yeah. Oh, there's nothing in that. That's a tough call, that.
Well, it goes Australia's way. And the best start they've had in terms of position to a set here. It's initial drive by Sam Thaiday. Forced into a front row position in this test team. Taken on that by Beau Scott, who's given Australia position only 10 yards away from that England line. Here's Cameron Smith, carefully picking up, and Croc closed down quickly by Hodgson. And crushed from behind by James Graham. Cameron Smith again. Woods taking it on powerfully as well. Graham was the man round his legs to bring him down to stop the run, and Smith poised here, close. Real pressure on England. Parker looking for the run around, lost his options and lost the ball, and it went forwards.
Yeah, it did.
Well, just a little confusion there from the Australians. They were lacking cohesion there, weren't they?
Well, I don't think they lacked cohesion. I think Parker got too greedy. It was the old 9 passes the first receiver, and he runs around him. They had numbers, they had bodies in motion, they had numbers on England, and Parker decided, listen, I'm going to go the other way. Bit of a problem here for Beau Scott. He's
gone, I think.
Well, they've said he's done his knee.
His knee hamstring, I think, Baz.
Yeah.
Well, the physio was putting his fingers across his throat very quickly there to say he's gone, but he's walking off. Okay, Boyd Courtney's coming on, I think, down below us.
I thought England defended just in relation to that last set. Corey Parker didn't have much choice because they rushed him, and they're showing the injury here, but I thought the English defence was good on their line at first.
It was, and on your line you want to get forward and you want to get it far up to that 10-metre line as quickly as possible, but I thought if he passed it, you know, had a little bit of composure, they had some depth, Australia, they could have played off it.
Cordner is the man on. He's just involved in the tackle there as England look to move their way clear of their own area here, their own part of the pitch. Farrell towards the 20-metre mark. Burgess again. George Burgess. Tom on the bench, of course. Hodgson. Here's Graham to O'Loughlin. Gone over the top here, and he's got a penalty for that. Well, the referees decided it was a dangerous tackle.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It didn't mean it to be dangerous. But once you put a player in the horizontal, whether it's accidental or deliberate, see, he goes in the horizontal. Watch here. See, once your legs go up and above, I know it's a tough call, but they're very pedantic on that over here. And this is what I heard the boys in the studio saying, some of the different rules. And we're talking about Australian referee in the NRL, and he would be judged on that in the NRL to straight away say, listen, horizontal, tough.
He might have an old-fashioned uniform on, but he's making pretty modern.
He is.
Adjudications.
He still goes in a dangerous position.
Kit looks great, doesn't it?
Position.
Another one on report. Aussie fans not happy with that. Greg Bird's certainly not happy with that. But it is a penalty for England, which will help them clear the line still further here, take their first play on this next set inside Australian territory. Tim Sheens, his visage doesn't change much, does it, during a game, winning, losing, frustrated or otherwise. He always seems to adopt the same kind of outlook, externally anyway. Here's Matty Smith. This is Widdop. Tompkins chiming in, delays the pass, and Sargison trying to bustle his way through, and he's held up 12 yards away. Hall now from dummy half. Widdop to O'Loughlin. That looked a shade forward. Here comes Graham. Three Australians tangling themselves around him. Hodgson scooping it left. Widdop on again. Misses out the first man. And Sargison is dragged down. They've still got a couple of tackles here of England. Widdop, Graham, Smith, Tompkins, Joel Tompkins. So the last play, where do they go? Blindside, Smith with a kick, not a good one. Picked up by Daly Cherry Evans. And England just about there in time to make sure he doesn't get a clear run.
Poor end to a really good set. They just needed to thread the needle there and find some space for England, but it's difficult at this level. It's easy for me to say that. I thought they're really well constructed English.
I agree. Yeah. That's been about ruthless and clinical at the back end of his set. Hasn't Sean O'Loughlin fitted in so easily after a break? His soft hands, his ability to move the ball, it never looks unfazed. Geez, world-class player.
Here's Woods, rattling it forward. One of those who made his debut last week. There are 7 players, I think, of the 17 today, who before last week didn't have a test cap to their name. Here's Charlie, in the Australian side, that is. Only there are 3 in the England team as well today. Sargison making his debut, Matty Smith and Darryl Clark, and Josh Hodgson, all making their debuts last week. Tompkins, Hall, Hodgson.
Finds his position so well, doesn't he? Ryan Hall and exit. Finds his front and makes the next carry so easy for his teammates.
There's a lot of people last week said, is Ryan Hall the best winger in the world after his performance last week and over continual seasons? He's just that prototype winger now. You know, he churns the metres coming out of yardage. He out jumps from the ball in the air. He wins the ruck, and he is world class.
30 minutes played. Scoreless at the moment, and no real tests at either end, have there, so far? But this is going to be a penalty.
They're going to get a bit of pressure to the back of the head now. So this, you know, we've nearly got the situation in NRL, Brian, where players will go down like this now, and then obviously the video will review it while they're down there, and then next thing
they get a penalty.
They get a penalty.
Changes his mind. Yeah.
You know, I mean, I know there's a penalty already, but it happens a lot. You know, I mean, we're nearly getting a bit like the English soccer. You know, some of them faint and injuries, but majority of the time it isn't. But it's great for our sport in regard to stopping the rules about pressure on the head, but you know, I don't think there's pressure as much there. You know?
Yeah, it'd be a shame if that was to sneak into the game as a tactic. We don't want that to happen because our game's too honest.
Nah, and that's what people admire about our game.
Yeah.
With that there. Tell you what, there's been a few lulls in this game now, isn't there? You know, we've had a scrum from a drop, we've had a couple penalties, and it's a real sparring battle at the moment. You know, like both sort of teams sparring at the moment. Australia haven't had as much ball inside the 20 as England have at the moment. But both teams look very comfortable in everything they're doing, defensively and attacking-wise.
And a big cheer there from the fans was because the ball thrown back from the crowd very nearly took the touch judge out. On the back of the head, it just missed the back of his head. Here's Cameron Smith rolling into dummy half. One of those wise old heads that still remains in that Australian side. Corey Parker, another of those. Pushing it beyond the 30-metre mark, but 2 tackles gone here. Smith. Friday, shuffling it in. England's defence remaining like a sheet of iron at the moment, and the pressure has caused a knock-on from Inglis.
Well done, England.
And England have it back again. We've seen 2 or 3 of those handling mistakes by the Australians now, haven't we?
Well, you've seen 2 in a row now inside the 20, and that was very un-Australian. They rucked the ball 4 rucks around the middle. I thought, when are they going to go to the edge? When are they going to the edge? They were trying to tighten England up and get them back on the inside. I thought it was very Tim Sheen's coach teams. He likes to move the ball around. Very conservative there, Australia.
Here's Graham to Widdop, and Widdop onto Farrell, and Farrell, who scored last week, of course, is put down only 5 short of the halfway line. O'Loughlin is the man at dummy half, and Graham is the one to his right, and Graham will just force it on again. And
I really like the way England are mixing up their go forward. They're coming to the edge and having a crack with their back rowers. They're going back to the middle with their big blokes and then doing this kind of thing.
Here comes Tompkins.
Well, I think they look more positive. They look more positive. But their bigger blokes are getting a quicker play the ball, so they're feeling a little bit more time.
Well, Widdop with a little chip over the top. It was a 6th tackle. There was a collision there with Coitner, but there was no claim of any obstruction, and the referee certainly wasn't mindful to give it. And it is back in Australian possession.
You made a good point there before, Brian. They've looked good in attack their last 2 rucks, but they've finished with a poor kick.
Yeah.
And then that's where you've got to nail teams. You've got to make them come off their line or put them in a position where you can dominate them defensively, those first 3 rucks.
Here comes Inglis. Now Daly Cherry Evans. How fit is he on the little ball back on the inside, and here comes Bird. Greg Bird's got support as well here from Jennings, and Jennings skips away from a couple of tackles. Make that 3, and Michael Jennings will score Australia's opening try if it is given. Referee has a question. He's giving the try, but he just wants it cleared up here by the video referee. So from Gerard Sutton up to Bernard Sutton to make the ultimate decision here.
Well, he's looking at the grounding, and
that's okay, isn't it? Is it?
You know what, Buck? You know, there's no pressure on that player, and you know, from a coaching and a teammate point of view, I think he can be a little bit more. What's the word?
Positive, clinical.
What are we making of this, by the way? This is.
Well, don't forget, you've got to have downward pressure, and you've got to have some form of a hand on the ball. I think he has got hand on the ball. I think there's more of a bounce after it hits the ground.
Well, any part of the upper body, isn't it? So a wrist would do.
I think that's a try.
Oh.
I don't think he's lost it.
I'm not sure what he's going to give here. Here we go. Yep, he has given the try. Just for a nervous moment there, I thought that he was going to disallow that, but he has given it.
Well, it's unacceptable to bring the referee into it when you've no one around you there. Brian, we come back to cause and effect. Where did they get the ball from? They got it from a poor kick. And they lost the first couple of rucks. They come up hard on the outside. You spoke about that earlier. Then they brought the ball back on the inside. And on the inside, Bird and players like that, Jennings, their speed, you know, get you with footwork. And that's where they got it. Kick, inside defence, opportunity to score.
It's important if you're going to get up on the outside and close that avenue of attack for the Australians. You certainly got to close the door on the inside, and they didn't. They left the barn door there, and you don't get people like Jennings, too quick, Jennings and Bird and those kind of players on the fringe. England have started really, really well, other than the positive kicks that we were wanting at the end of sets as well.
Yeah.
They've been the better team for me.
Yeah, but at this level, as you know, you've got to be so clinical on every action you make. I like their positivity in attack. Well, they could be a little bit more positive at the back end of their kick. And the message will be going on straight away with their inside D. They'd be saying about,
Cameron Smith has put it wide.
Wow.
Well, what a miss from Cameron Smith.
Keep in mind, Dave, this is his home ground. The Melbourne Storm play here in the NRL. And if you look at this replay again, they get up hard on the outside, England. They force him back. But there's a massive hole there outside of Josh Hodgson there.
Yeah, I think it was Joel Tompkins went up laterally, so it was easy to step on the inside, so just needed to square himself up so he got the chance of making that tackle.
So 18 minutes played here, and Australia are leading by 4 points to 0. So remind you, they took the lead much earlier against New Zealand last week. And it certainly didn't go their way thereafter, but this is an Australian side that is stinging from criticism, that has followed their trail from Brisbane to Melbourne in the last 7-8 days because of the way they performed against New Zealand. Here comes Cameron Smith out of dummy half again, and Australia looking to make progress. England needing a response here. Keeping Australia inside their own half for the moment. It's taken on by Corey Parker. Short of the halfway, into the shadows. It's going to be a kick from Cooper Cronk from this right-hand side, back towards Charnley. Straight into his barrel chest, and a run back to the 30-metre mark. And that's where England start. Tompkins shrugging off Woods. Here's Charnley. Ryan Hall's there in the middle as well. The two wingers eager for some early carries here. Joel Tompkins. Hodgson stands and waits. Here's Graham. testing their resolve down the middle and just putting a bit of a platform on here for a kick on the 6th. Right it comes to Matty Smith. Sends it high. It is a breezy day, so it's not an easy catch, this. Inglis is across, though, and just scoops it up in those great big arms of his. And England makes sure they get to him on that 10-metre mark. Dummy show. England defending tightly at the moment. Inglis, oh my word! Well, he's got a penalty. Not square at the marker.
Just these penalties make the difference at this level.
That's releasing the team out of their half that easy, because when they tap the ball, they're inside your half straight away.
I think Smith dropped the ball cold there as well, Basil. Yeah. Giving him a bit of field position.
Do you know what I've noticed with the England team, the Australian defence? When Graham gets it, he heads on a bit of an overs, because he's linking up with a pass, or he's got a player out the back he can pass it to. Loughlin's pushed up on his inside a couple of times, and they look vulnerable on the inside, Australia. You know, and you look there, I'm not sure. I think they're overreading a little bit, Australia. They want to push off the Graham, and I think they could be vulnerable back on the inside. I'd be interested to see if England can play that play.
It's Cronk with a short, flat ball, which almost sent Boyd Cordner charging through. It's taken on by Cameron Smith. Here's Aaron Woods. Graham grabs a hold, and he's helped out by O'Loughlin, but they are in decent position again here, Australia, with 2 tackles to go. Danger of a penalty here if they don't get off. Cameron Smith again now, throwing it left. Matty Smith comes forward. Papali is on from the bench. And that's where he stands, and that's where he falls. Final tackle. Cameron Smith back to Cooper Cronk. Cronk gets the kick away before Graham gets in there. Sam Tompkins gets the ball away. What about that? Ryan Hall now suddenly has room to run. He's cleared it towards the 20-metre mark.
Great play.
Walker with a tackle, but what about the in-goal play from England there?
Well, it started with Tompkins. He read the kick. He started on the other side of the ruck. He got there, and he knew there was some space on the outside. And that's a really positive action to do that. And followed by Sargentson. He didn't die wondering either.
Here's Chris Hill, who's fresh from the interchange bench as well, carrying it strongly.
Look at that. Play the ball in the halfway. There could have been a dropout now to defend their line. Actions like that conserve your energy.
Here's Whittam. You'll have noticed that Darryl Clark is on the field as well. Here's Farrell. Not quite the dynamic, electrifying first touch in this game that Darryl Clark had last week, but he's on. Matty Smith getting it away. He claims he was caught high by his namesake Cameron Smith and late, but the referee's allowed it to go. And the kick downfield has Mansour trapped there. 5 from his own line.
That was a great recovery, wasn't it? Defended on their line.
Look where they started the next defensive set.
Second ruck, 10 metres, 15 metres out from the Australian line. Great recovery.
Here's Cronk out of dummy half, trying to search down this blind side through young Dylan Walker. He'll be putting the nightmare of last week out of his mind here, but back in his more comfortable position now, of course. That was David Clemmer, the Canterbury Bulldog, who's been brought up under the wing of James Graham in many respects. The kick downfield has Tompkins chasing back. Advance party from Australia is up there, and Tompkins is no further than 25 metres out. Matt Smith. Here's Charnley.
Both teams are having to utilise their back three quite often, haven't they? Watkins carrying the ball again. Sargentson's carried the ball plenty. Both wingers. It's the same for Australia. It's the nature of the game and the end-to-end stuff we're involved in.
There's O'Loughlin. Flat pass for Farrell, but Australian defenders had that read. Clark, Hill. Claims of a forward pass from the touchline. 6th tackle coming up. It's back with Whittam again. Inglis standing firm underneath it like a man mounted, waiting for it to come to him. And England's chase, I think, was offside. It was. So the penalty goes Australia's way again.
It's really poor discipline, this, because they're in front of the kicker, and then obviously got to be back 10 metres. The trouble is the kicker couldn't put it onside because he got taken out from the kick. I reckon that if you watch here now, it's the player on the inside, the dummy half. So he's inside the 10. I know it's only 5 metres, and they're looking here for a late hit on James Graham. I reckon the viewers back at home should just have a look when England kick the ball. Australia, at the moment, are finding the front. Now, when you find the front as a ball player, you play the ball quicker. and they're not getting as many numbers in the tackle, England, as Australia are on the first few rucks. And it's interesting, the outside backs for Australia are finding their front and playing it quicker.
What is it? Just gone 5:30 back in England in the morning, hasn't it? I think there's been too much to really rattle people out of their slumbers so far from this game. Just a one try, but it has been tough down the middle since and before. Here's Jennings. Australia rolling forward. The pass was a bit of a no-looker, and it was lucky for Australia the boy Coulter was sharp enough to drop on it, but that could easily have been England ball. Here's Cameron Smith. Four gone, 2 to go. In fact, no, this is the last one. So here comes Daly Cherry-Evans with a chip over the top. Charnley backing back and then coming forward. He seemed to leap a little early, but he managed to hang up there just long enough. And he's got possession back.
He did. Suspended animation.
He did.
He just hung up there. He had to, because he'd gone early, as you say, would he?
But he was very confident, you know.
Very confident.
You don't at this level show a little bit of insecurity in the air, because they'll hound you.
Lachlan spinning it wide to Farrell. Farrell with a push. Darryl Clark wants to get going here, and he's seen a gap here. Darryl Clark closed up quickly enough, but he's stolen an extra 10-12 yards there. And this is Hill with the footwork and the offload. Graham now to Smith. Smith darting away. Already up to 5. Here comes a 6. Clark again. Tompkins looking for a bit of grass down the middle. It's a decent kick. The chase is how good. It's Tom Burgess who's leading the pack. Farrell's up there too, but it's Burgess, Tom who makes the tackle.
We've got two major weapons here at the moment in England. Clark, encourage him to run as much as he can from dummy half, and Hill's footwork is causing the Australians some problem because it's kicking to the outside, and then he's got some outside push, causing a little bit of problem there. Something they've got to really keep hammering away at.
4-0 it remains. 13.5 minutes of the half remaining. Parker taking it in. Hill's up there rushing to meet him, but the offload is good, and here comes Clemmer on his debut. 6 feet 7 inches tall, if you're wondering how big. Smith to his left, Cherry-Evans. Here comes the last. Slow, very slow. So where's it going? Smith out of dummy half. Tompkins with a catch. And he's already looking to set something up here. Ryan Hall is coming onto it at power and pace. And there goes Hall. And Hall puts the foot down. He's past Cameron Smith. The inside pass to Clark. Clark now has support. Clark dummies, should have passed. Inglis is back to make the tackle and drag him out of play like a rag doll. But it's a penalty for England. The referee had called held. The tackle was completed and England get a penalty. 5 from the Australian line.
He should have passed. Yeah. It's easy for me to say. They made a brilliant break here. Hall does unbelievably well. Straight through. Go Ryan Hall. Busting down the left-hand side. Does a good thing. Beats somebody else. Clark's on his inside. Make a square up. Make a pass and pass. But decides, you know, you can understand his reasoning, but should have passed there.
Yeah, he created a 3-on-2, and then he took away the space himself by running to the sideline.
But what a chance here for England now. Tom Burgess with a drive in, and 5 more tackles to come. Clark's at dummy half. This is Widdop. Here's Matty Smith. Tompkins now. They've got the numbers. Kyle Watkins has got the power. Has he got it down? Has he got it down? The referee thinks he might have, but he wants assurance from the man in the box. Go away, he says. Let's have a look at this in the cold light of day.
I don't think he's looking at the touchdown. He's looking at all the decoy plays. So that's when the ball player goes to the line. We call it a lead, and we have a player out the back, a second man option. He's going to look at all that. He's going to make sure none of the Australians were impeded or were held up to push off and go to the outside. So this is really important here now, because any contact causes problems. Now, that's not a problem, Matt. That's not a problem, because he engages the defender. Dale Cherry-Evans engages. He falls over himself. That's the one the referee looked at. This will be a try because he doesn't get impeded, Dale Cherry. He climbs in. He makes a defensive decision. He has that player. Now he engages. The only problem is, I will say this, I'm going to put a small little doubt. is I think it's a try. He's supposed to go to his inside shoulder, the support player, and not on top of that. But I don't think this is a poor defensive decision, and he shouldn't be rewarded for it, and it'll be an England try.
And remember, the video referee has to have a very, very good reason to overturn what the referee on the field saw here.
Well, we're talking about NRL rules here again. Once he says it's try, you've got to come up with a major reason to why it's not a try, because he's always signalled try, so they go with that. So this will be a try.
Well, here comes the decision on the big screen. Decision pending. Big one for England. Score for England. Callum Watkins with the try. There's a flurry of red and white flags in this Melbourne crowd. And England are back level with very nearly half an hour play.
Hey, can we just go back to Brian Noble? He's put me in the headlock when they scored that. I reckon he should be put on report himself. I feel like I've been hitting back play after they scored then.
It was below the chin. It was definitely below the chin.
Yeah, you're on report, Noble.
The last thing you want in a commentary box is a dirty hooker and a chippy little scrum half sitting next to you, isn't it?
I've got to say, Ryan Hall created that.
Didn't he?
And obviously, I love the way, and they were very positive last week, England, but the way they did that. Matty Smith, doesn't he go deep in the line, a la Wigan, and commits defenders very well.
Well, here comes Widdop to give England the lead here for the first time today. If he can land this, it's a tough one. Breezy day. He certainly hit it well enough, and he has hit it true. And England do have the lead here. Half an hour played. It is Australia 4, England 6.
Well, he'll be used to kicking goals here as well, Gareth Widdop, but he spent plenty of his time at the Melbourne team.
Well, he didn't kick too much. He's at St George Illawarra now. He kicked at 66% last year. He's really first year kicking the NRL. This week and last week, he's at 100%. So he's doing well there, Gareth, with his kicking.
I was just about to say for our viewers at home, and the atmosphere is great here, and this is a proper game. This is a proper test match. They're really getting stuck into each other, and both teams are playing their part, and that's great penalty for England.
I'll tell you what, we've talked a lot about the referee in the build-up, but I don't think any complaints so far, is there? Or is this game a little slower than you might expect in the NRL around the Ruck? No?
We don't have as many penalties in the NRL. Well, I'll tell you what, it's a pretty quick game, because players like Ryan Hall, Sam Tompkins, when he could have been caught in goal, got out. Ryan Hall's got you up at the end of the park. Ryan Hall, I can't repeat it enough. That run of his was outstanding.
Here comes Tom Burgess firing it back at the Aussie line again. England with fire in their hearts now, having got that try on the board and having got the lead. Here comes Hill again. This is only 2 tackles gone so far, and 2 of the big men have made decent inroads. It's Widdop. It's Ferris with a short, flat one. Sargison will get up and play it. 15 metres away. Oh, Graham's lost it. Graham's lost it. Australia pick up possession, and that is a cheap handover of possession from England's point of view.
Very much on James, but he'll make up for it. He'll rule that and make up. Brian, I was going to say, I reckon England, I thought Hill was their best player last week. I reckon when he's on the field, they get more leverage around the ruck area with their go forward.
Well, they certainly find his front, as you're explaining, the Australian outside backs do. Chris Hill does, because of his footwork at the line. It's hard to get a 2-on-1 tackle on him. So he's always going to beat one person off the ground, and that helps to go forward.
And I reckon that's going to create more runs for Clark while Hill's on.
Big effort forward by David Clemmer. Played in City of Origin this year. He's not far off State of Origin. Cronk with a kick. He was on the halfway line. Now, where's this going? Out of play, dead behind the net ball line. It'll be a tap back on the 20. And a chance for both sides to take a bit of breath here. Ryan Hall throwing it to Tompkins, so there's not going to be a quick tap restart here. Charlie, the winger, called in from that far side. And again, going back to the try, the intent was there right from the off from Tompkins as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He was directing his outside backs. He could see that this was a case of not only getting a bit of ground, but making a big inroads. Hill. 8 minutes and a half remaining. Clark. Graham. Smith. And it goes to Watkins, the try scorer, who puts the step on Jennings. Michael Jennings makes the tackle.
Copped one for his troubles there, James Graham.
Tom Burgess. That's 5. Just over 50-metre gain in this set as Smith puts it high, and again he's caught just a little late, not too bad, a high one, and Inglis off his shoulder. It'll be another set here. England get another 6. Widdop has the ball in his hands. I think Tompkins might have hurt himself in forcing Inglis to make that mistake. This now is Tom Burgess, who's very, very close. Gets up and plays it. Clark spins it back. This is Graham to Matty Smith. Now Widdop to Sargison. Sargison with a pass. What a pass! What a try! England have the second. Australia complaining, but the try is given. England, with 2 scores in 5 minutes, have turned this right around.
Oh, you talk about being positive. Out of the 4 halves on the field at the moment, Smith's second test match. He's been so dominant. He got there with the kick. And then Steve McNamara said, we asked him before the game, he said, why'd you go him over Shenton? He said, I was looking for someone who could attack a little bit more. I want to play real positive. I reckon Sargison's got that in his game. That is a skill and a half, to be able to catch, hold the defender up, left arm flick pass. And then Ryan Hall, they couldn't stop him from 100 metres out. How are you going to stop him from 15 metres out? When that play was on, I thought to myself, Sam Tompkins is down. They're going to be 1 player short when they shifted it to this left-hand side. They had a nice set-up play where they hit James Graham. They did the run around there with it. I thought they're going to be 1 man short, but then Sargison kicked overs, and they got man on man. He got to his outside shoulder, and he got really nervous, Sione Mata'utai, and he tested do, and he sort of climbed in a little bit, and it gave Ryan Hall that great opportunity. But every time they get down there, England, they look so positive. And I keep coming back to Matty Smith, mate. He looks like a real veteran in his second test. What
about Ryan Hall's finish? He holds his chalk so well, and for our viewers at home, because he holds the sideline so really well. Jake Mansour was nervous on the one-on-one and think, I've got to go stop this, I've got to go help my centre, because Sargison's done the big step out with the flick pass, and he's finishes plays like that for Leeds every week.
So the Australians wouldn't have seen much of him either.
Here's a concern though there with Sam Tompkins, who's still having treatment quite a while after he caught that shoulder to the face, I should imagine, or maybe a head clash there. Looks like he's going to be okay. We're just watching him on the far side as the camera zooms in on Ryan Hall. We're just seeing Sam Tompkins climb to his feet again. I think he's going to be okay here, isn't he?
Well, he's vital. He's vital not only when you talk about attack and organising their defence, because he fills in up in the defensive line when it's short. His ability to read, because he's played against all these players in Australia. And that's where Sargison sort of get him on the hop. None of these players who have ever seen him play before. So he's a bit of an unknown product in front of them. Now they go, wow.
Here comes Widdop with a second conversion attempt of the day. Successful with his strike from the far side of the field. Widdop with the right boot. Sernett started it well right, but my word, has that curl back. And isn't this worth getting up for now? Not even 6 o'clock on a Sunday morning back in England, but you're watching England beating Australia by 12 points to 4 with that kind of skill on show.
Brilliant. Mansour doesn't do himself any justice at all. Knows exactly what's happening, and they've struck up a really decent partnership early in this game, haven't they?
Oh, they have. They have.
Well, the confidence is flowing, and the so-called Australian generation next. So many new players in their squad who haven't got that winning mentality, who don't find it natural to return to that position of authority. Maybe just having a few questions put in their minds here. Here's Clark at dummy half, off again and searching for something to happen, and taken on by Joel Tompkins, who's quick to his feet, which gives Clark another chance to have a go and have a nibble out there. And the Australians just about hanging on at the moment. 5 gone. This is the 6. Matty Smith. Up it goes. England's chase is on. Sargison's trying to get up there, but it's taken by Mata'utai, who runs it back towards that 20-metre mark. 4 minutes to go in this first half. A lot of complaining here from Australia towards the referee. Is that again a reflection of the frustration they're feeling at the moment? They've lost the ball here, but illegally. It was stolen. But the amount of carping that seems to be going on from the Aussies, is that a reflection of maybe their growing frustration.
Well, they haven't made any ball down this end of the field, and they've done, and the other. I think they're a little bit shocked at how positive the English are at the moment.
Definitely. This
And,
is all about England at the moment.
Yeah.
And what allowing Australia to do, to can't take anything away from them. They're being really positive in all their actions. They've got a belief in themselves and a confidence. They're winning the ground, both sides of the ruck. My big beef and all of this, and there's always been, you've got to concentrate every play of every set. That's what test match football does, and that's where the Australians have a chance of getting if you don't concentrate well enough.
Here's Inglis out to the left-hand side, and Jennings, who's already proved himself to be a threat in this game so far, as we know he is. Cordner back to the middle, taken on by Greg Bird. Oh, he's taken off just below the knees, wasn't he, there by Brett Ferris? Out goes Cameron Smith. Daly Cherry Evans punches it through. Tompkins had a job to do, and he did it. He got that right foot in there and blasted away for a dropout underneath the sticks.
I think the worry for Australia is, we talked about before the game, Brian, how we think Greg Inglis could just blow this game apart if he gets the ball and he's right on that mood. In that set of 6, he touched the ball once. And that's not enough down this end of the park, and he only threatened to touch it once. He needs to get his hands on the ball. If he causes problems. But that's where Australia don't look fluent in their attack. And they're hustling pretty good, England, getting forward in their D.
Well, the Aussie crowd is just a little restless at the moment. Knowing their side are under the pump. But a chance for them to have a decent attacking set here. Cronk will catch that and look to get Friday up and running straight away. And Cameron Smith at dummy half finds Woods to his left. Australia rolling it forward here. Friday's going to have another crack. Takes it inside the 20. That's 3 tackles gone. England being forced backwards here, but not too far backwards. Cronk out to the right where Papali was waiting, but so too were numerous England defenders. Smith to the middle. This time it's Cronk. Here's Cherry Evans. Now Jennings. Jennings on the outside. Oh, the pass was awful. Callum Watkins was slipped by, but he had his salvation in the fact that Jennings' pass was dreadful. And well, England escaped.
I was talking to Ian before the game and some of the Australian pundits about what Michael Jennings can do. You know, we talked about Greg Inglis, and my worry all week is that we give this guy a little bit of space. He's got good speed. He can beat people one-on-one as he does Callum Watkins there, and if he executes that properly, good job he threw it into the sideline. It's
a similar one England scored. Yeah, I mean, it was man on man. The fullback wasn't there in that try. England scored. Tompkins was there. Inglis wasn't there. He's on their side, so it was man on man. And it'll be interesting there. It's they could rue that. That's a massive opportunity right on half-time. Well, we're talking about a minute before half-time.
Without getting ahead of ourselves too much, you just wonder. Moments like that, you just wonder.
Well, I'm thinking from an Australian point of view. We've just bombed a try a minute before half-time.
Burgess.
This is really important for me. Woody, I got free beer all night off Ian if we get up.
That's a pint and a half then. Here comes Hill.
Feel a headache coming on.
Early night Millward, as he's known in these parts. Here it comes now to James Graham, inside ball, and Tompkins is away! And he has support from Clark! Clark now puts the foot down, trying to connect with Witham. Witham's knocked it on. Australia pick it up. Australia were torn a hole right down the middle. Not for the first time, but England couldn't quite take it all the way. 12 seconds and a half remaining. Wouldn't that have been a heartbreaker for the Aussies? As it is they who will have possession at the end here. Cronk now, ball back inside. Jennings away from one. Last play as the hooter sounds. Jennings away. Josh Mansour caught in possession. The ball goes to ground. Smith picks it up, but it has been knocked on. That's the way it will end. 1.5 for England, coming from behind, and they lead here at half-time at Amy Park by 12 points to 4. Let's get down onto the field and hear from Gareth Widdop.
Yeah, Greg, what do we need to do better in the second half, brother?
I think we just play our sets out and keep doing what we do. Just got to pick out and test it up and deep.
Good luck with it, mate. Over to you, Fred.
Everything going to plan, Gareth? Oh, yeah, look, I think we started a little bit slow, but I think the boys got back in the game plan. That's what we want to do. We scored a few points, which is great.
Good luck in the second half. England leading 12-4 at half-time.
England are up then at half-time, as the Australian commentator said just at the end. It's that kind of morning where you get up to watch the game, you try to be quiet in the house so you don't wake anybody else up.